You look at the global automotive landscape and you are completely convinced that Tesla's dream of a cheap mass-market electric vehicle has crashed and burned. You see the sensational headlines proclaiming the death of the long-promised $25,000 model, and you believe the company simply folded under the immense pressure of low-cost international competition. But travel to the vast, dust-blown expanse of Austin, Texas, and stand inside the echoing halls of Gigafactory, Texas, in the middle of 2026. The air vibrates with a rhythmic, low-frequency hum as the very first production Cybercabs silently roll off a completely new type of assembly infrastructure, devoid of steering wheels, completely missing physical pedals, and glowing with sharp metallic angles. The $25,000 price point did not die in a corporate boardroom. It underwent a profound mutation, transforming from an affordable commuter box that you were supposed to drive into an autonomous industrial asset designed to completely erase the concept of private car ownership. The traditional mass-market vehicle you were waiting for was intentionally killed because the company realized that building a low-margin consumer product is a dead end when you can manufacture a self-driving economic engine instead. The victory you think the legacy industry is winning is completely hollow. Which side of this evolution are you on? The modern automotive industry has spent nearly 2 decades holding its breath for a single, revolutionary product that would democratize electric transport forever. The foundational myth of this entire movement was written all the way back in 2006, laid out cleanly within a secret corporate master plan. Build an expensive sports car, use that revenue to build a mid-priced premium sedan, and eventually use those massive cash flows to fund the ultimate high-volume $25,000 People's Electric. For a generation, consumers and financial analysts watched this master plan execute with mechanical precision, culminating in the massive global success of the Model 3 and Model Y platforms. Yet, as the volume scaled into the millions, the physical platform hit an unyielding economic brick wall. The standard automotive assembly line, which has remained structurally unchanged for over a century, reached the absolute limit of its efficiency. Shrinking the physical footprint of a premium vehicle cannot drop its production cost below a certain threshold when you are still tied to the same sequential assembly constraints. To break through that financial ceiling, the company had to do something far more radical than simply redesigning a chassis. They had to completely reinvent the physics of the factory itself. The desperate urgency behind this industrial transition was accelerated by a massive, aggressive shadow rising rapidly from the east. For years, Western automakers treated the concept of low-cost electric vehicles as a distant, low-margin novelty, safe within their premium strongholds. Then the market was suddenly blindsided by the global deployment of the BYD Seagull, a tightly engineered, highly optimized hatchback starting at under $10,000 inside the Chinese domestic market. This was not a poorly constructed, fragile knockoff. It was a solid, highly profitable manifestation of absolute vertical integration and ruthless manufacturing discipline. The vehicle sent a massive shockwave through the corporate offices of legacy car companies, acting as a brutal wake-up call that the next great automotive conflict would not be fought over premium leather or high-horsepower luxury specifications. It was going to be a savage, low-margin street fight at the lowest price brackets of the global market. While the West was busy chasing high-margin software features and headline-grabbing acceleration metrics, its primary international rival had quietly solved the foundational problem of mass-market manufacturing cost. This hyper-competitive landscape is the exact arena in which the initial blueprints for Project Redwood were drawn up as a direct counteroffensive. The leaked details painted a picture of a tight, compact crossover designed to roll out at a staggering clip of 10,000 units per week from the automated lines of Texas. But behind the closed doors of the engineering department, a profound structural realization began to take shape. The team looked at the razor-thin 5% profit margins common to high-volume budget hatchbacks and calculated the immense capital expenditure required to fight a bloody price war against deeply entrenched international rivals. They realized that entering a traditional manufacturing knife fight against a subsidized, ultra-low-cost ecosystem meant playing a legacy game on the competitor's terms. The entire corporate trajectory was abruptly altered, tossing the traditional human-driven budget hatchback directly into the scrap heap to protect the brand from industrial commoditization. The internal economic calculations that drove this sudden, violent strategic reversal are remarkably clear when you strip away the emotional reactions of the public. The leadership looked at two completely separate industrial paths forward. The first path demanded spending billions of dollars to build a standard, low-margin commuter car, fighting aggressively for every individual consumer sale against a flood of global clones, completely exposed to shifting dealer networks and volatile consumer credit markets. The second path utilized those exact same manufacturing billions to build a purpose-built, steering wheel-less autonomous capsule that the company would completely retain and operate inside its own private ride-hailing network. Suddenly, a $25,000 piece of hardware ceases to be a simple product sold for a single small profit margin. It transforms into a continuous operational asset running 16 hours a day, generating tens of thousands of dollars in high-margin utility revenue every single year. The physical car effectively becomes an autonomous cash printing mechanism, turning Musk's controversial gamble into a logical leapfrog maneuver designed to make the very concept of human driving economically obsolete. Would you choose the scrap or the machine? The physical execution of this massive pivot depends entirely on a radical, highly protected manufacturing philosophy known as the Unboxed process. For over a century, since Henry Ford first synthesized the moving assembly line in 1913, every single automobile on Earth has been manufactured using the exact same rigid, linear methodology. A stamping press creates a hollow steel shell, the body in white, which then moves slowly down a mile-long sequence of conveyors while hundreds of robots and human workers awkwardly reach through the narrow window openings and door frames to jam heavy dashboards, complex wiring bundles, and interior trim pieces into a dark, confined metal box. It is the industrial equivalent of building a highly complex ship inside a glass bottle, a process where the entire multi-billion-dollar factory moves only as fast as its slowest, most constrained assembly station. If a single robotic arm suffers a mechanical failure or a wiring harness snags, the entire linear apparatus grinds to an instant, highly expensive halt. The Unboxed method completely shatters this century-old manufacturing paradigm by treating the construction of an automobile like a modular Lego set rather than a continuous linear progression. Instead of a single, slow-moving line, the factory floor is broken down into independent, highly optimized parallel assembly cells that operate simultaneously. In one distinct zone, the entire front module of the vehicle is constructed in the wide open air, allowing automated systems 360-degree unobstructed access to install the electric motor, the entire front suspension array, the central compute brain, the cooling lines, the dashboard, and the front windshield before the subassembly ever encounters the rest of the car. Simultaneously, separate cells are rapidly assembling the complete rear propulsion module and stamping out the individual exterior doors, which are painted independently to eliminate the massive energy-intensive paint shops that traditional car bodies must snake through for hours. The absolute foundational anchor that enables this parallel modularity is the mature development of megacasting technology, combined with a structural battery pack. The factory utilizes monstrous mountain-weight 9,000-ton tectonic casting presses to stamp out massive, highly complex front and rear underbody structures in a matter of seconds, replacing hundreds of individual stamped metal pieces and thousands of failure-prone welds with a singular piece of solid aluminum. These massive structural castings are then joined directly to a central battery pack casing that acts as the literal floor and structural core of the entire vehicle. The final assembly step, the marriage phase, is remarkably rapid. The completed front module, the finished rear module, the interior seats, and the painted exterior body panels are brought together simultaneously and bonded directly to the structural battery core. The factory footprint shrinks by 40 to 50%, the total assembly time plummets, and the overall manufacturing cost is instantly slashed by a massive 50%. The physical machine that emerges from this highly advanced unboxed process bears absolutely no resemblance to the standard sedans or crossovers currently occupying the roads. The Cybercab is designed from its very first sketch as a dense, high-utilization autonomous pod optimized exclusively for aerodynamic efficiency and low operational friction. The interior cabin completely discards the traditional dashboard layout, eliminating the steering column, the brake pedal assembly, the accelerator linkages, the rear-view mirrors, and the complex mechanical switchgear that standard human-driven vehicles require. By completely ripping out these historical legacy components, the interior space is fully liberated for the passenger, morphing the cabin into a clean, minimalist capsule engineered to be completely sanitized in a matter of seconds between automated pickups. This entire disruptive framework is heavily reliant on the technical composition of the energy storage system hidden beneath the floorboards. To achieve the ruthless cost targets required for a $25,000 autonomous fleet vehicle, the platform completely moves away from expensive, geopolitically volatile battery chemistries that rely heavily on scarce nickel and cobalt. Instead, the vehicle utilizes highly stable lithium iron phosphate, or LFP, cell chemistry. While LFP chemistry is inherently less energy-dense than premium nickel-based variants, resulting in a heavier physical footprint, it possesses three massive structural advantages that are absolutely critical for a commercial robotaxi fleet. First, the production cost is dramatically lower due to the abundance of raw iron and phosphate. Second, the chemical matrix is remarkably robust, capable of enduring thousands of harsh charge and discharge cycles to 100% capacity with virtually zero capacity degradation, creating a powertrain built to survive up to 1 million miles of continuous operational service. Third, the thermal stability of the LFP lattice makes it one of the safest, least flammable battery configurations ever put onto public roads, providing an essential safety shield for an unmonitored autonomous fleet. The digital nervous system of this platform represents a complete departure from traditional automotive electrical engineering, utilizing a native 48-volt architecture to completely replace the ancient 12-volt standard that the legacy industry has clung to for generations. By quadrupling the baseline voltage, the physical current required to power the vehicle's massive array of sensors, actuators, and computers is cut to exactly 1/4. This shift allows engineers to drastically reduce the thickness and weight of the copper wiring harnesses snaked throughout the chassis, turning thick, unmanageable bundles of metal into thin, highly flexible communication lines that are easily integrated into the modular, unboxed subassemblies. Yet all of this physical metallurgy, advanced casting work, and optimized battery chemistry is merely a lifeless, stationary shell without the absolute execution of the digital intelligence driving it. The entire financial valuation of this vehicle and the ultimate survival of the company's grand strategic pivot is 100% dependent on the total validation of its vision-based full self-driving software. The vehicle is quite literally an advanced artificial intelligence computer bolted to a low-cost rolling chassis, completely lacking any mechanical redundancies or backup human controls. If the vision-based neural networks can successfully navigate the infinite chaotic edge cases of complex urban environments without human intervention, the company will instantly unlock a multi-trillion-dollar monopoly on low-cost autonomous mobility, completely leapfrogging the legacy automakers who remain structurally trapped in the low-margin paradigm of selling physical metal to private buyers. However, if the software validation loop runs into unyielding technical walls, or if government regulators permanently block the wide-scale deployment of steering wheel-less platforms on public streets, the entire apparatus remains a stranded, inoperable asset. The stakes of this industrial transition could not possibly be higher. It is an all-in, uncompromising bet on the total victory of machine vision over human control. An industrial crossroads that will either cement the platform as the absolute architecture of future global transit or leave it stranded as a fascinating, hyper-expensive relic of overambitious engineering. Subscribe to Dravexa for the untold reality.